Summer's here, the sun is out, it's time to get the roof off the Rover. So this car is for sale with Stone Cold Classics in Rootham in Kent. Check them in the link below. Thanks again for the loan of the car for this video. This is a 1994 Rover 214 SE Cabriolet. And if you're looking to try the best possible example of a 214 Cabriolet, this is probably it. In the late 80s and early 90s, Rover made the absolute most of their Honda Concerto-based 200 series, the R8 platform, with as many derivatives as they could think of. The estate car, the coupe, the 5-door, the 2-door sports, not quite a coupe, and this from 1992, they locked the roof off and turned it into a convertible as well. Now I can't remember the last time I saw one, but I've always quite fancied the look of one, so today let's go and see what they're like to drive. Rover made great use of their existing stockpile of R8 200 series body panels when they put this car together. At the front you have the same bonnet as everything apart from the coupe, and the only difference there is the power bulge, which is only cosmetic. You have the same grille for the years, same headlights, same bumpers, although being a 214 model, it doesn't have fog lights as the 220s and 216s would have done. You've got the same alloy wheels as the higher spec coupes and the posher versions of the car throughout the range. Being a 2-door model, these are the same doors as you'll find in the coupe and the same door card. Although now today, if you're looking for a second-hand one, they are astonishingly rare. Being the only convertible in the range, there are unique parts to it. The rear quarters are special to this car, as is this rollover bar. And of course the hood. I don't know what it is about old Rovers and their original number plates, but like my Tomcat, this too is wearing its original 1994 number plate from the dealer that sold it back then. Unlike my Tomcat, this bumper is absolutely spotless and these headlights are crystal clear and these indicators are the same. In fact, this doesn't look like a car that's pushing 26 years old, it looks like something that's about 3 or 4. It's quite remarkable. And staying here at the front, let's look at the engine. Hang on, this is clearly defective because the bonnet doesn't catch on the windscreen wipers, and this handle is shaped like a handle, not a piece of bent metal. This car's clearly been messed around with. It's nothing like my Tomcat. Well, it's the baby of the K series range in here, the 1.4 1396cc from memory, and the good old, I think it's a PG1 gearbox down there. Interestingly, the logo on that gearbox looks like the final 2005 Rover logo. That's quite interesting because a much more simplified version of that logo. There's loads of room in this engine bay. A lot of this is familiar to every Rover from the 90s. So the layout is the same, the battery, the ECU, the fuse box remains in the same place, but doesn't appear to be an ABS pump on this car, so I'm guessing no ABS, which is a surprise for a relatively luxurious model. But it does have power steering, so that's a win. In terms of condition, this is absolutely fantastic. There's a little bit of dust on the chassis rails, but obviously no crash damage, and just a bit of grime really. This thing is really like new. There's no oil leaking anywhere, and the belts have just been done, so they look good. Well, sitting in this Rover is the same as pretty much every R8 you're ever going to sit in any place else. The steering wheel, the dashboard, the seats, even the door handles and the gear shift are all really the same. Fire it up, and that's a very nice K series. Only at 1.4, and oh my god, that gear shift. I've driven a lot of Rovers, I've never driven one as nice as that, apart from that MGTF the other day with 5,000 miles on it. Wow, that is truly astonishing. This feels like my coupe would have felt like about 100,000 miles ago, in terms of gear shift anyway. Now, got electric windows on both front doors, which will need to be up because you will not hear a word I say otherwise. And I've pulled out of my nice quiet car park onto the busiest roundabout in Kent. Well, the little 1.4 is remarkably refined actually. It doesn't really feel like it wants you to thrash it, so I'm not going to put my foot down and bury it through a corner as quick as I can, but it's a nice comfortable cruiser. Yeah, that 5-speed gearbox, the linkage is not worn at all, and these linkages just like fall apart, they crumble like cardboard, but this is really, really nice. Now, although I've got electric windows in the front, The back windows are only manual, so if I want to put them up at any time, I'm going to have to pull over and stop to do it. It's an electric roof, one touch, as long as you keep your finger touching the button for the entire time the roof needs to go down. Oh, Panda 100. Wow, we don't see those very often. Now I'm taking this car down an idyllic Kentish back road, which in some ways is its perfect environment and in other ways isn't. It's comfortable, the ride is very pleasant, but it's no rattling through the corners. Well, it will rattle through the corners, I should say that. It will rattle because it has scuttle shake, because it's a convertible Rover. As I say, the interior is basically the same as any other Rover R8 series. This is the pre-facelift square dashboard version, so you've got the very kind of rectangular centre console, very flat and square across the dashboard, but you have got this nice rubberised area. Interestingly, this one has a twin area for putting 2 stacks of cassettes in, as well as more cassettes in the central armrest. I believe there is an option where you can actually replace the inside of that lid for a cup holder. I've only ever seen one once and it was like £25, and if I see one again I will grab it. The back seat is the same as in a coupe, so it's a strictly 2-seater bucket bench rather than a 3-seater. It's only got 2 seat belts, but they're fairly comfortable, and there's a reasonable amount of legroom. You're not going to get a sort of 6-footer in there, but you'll get kids and teenagers, and anyone going for a short drive won't be too upset. Honestly, I can't get over how good this gearbox is. It's fabulous. It's how mine should be. I wonder if I could buy the car for the gearbox. This is an SE spec car, so as well as having a lack of fog lights at the front, it also doesn't come with electric mirrors. You have these little manual winders for the door mirrors. And it's got the original Rover radio, which is a radio cassette, but no CD changer, I noted. That aside, your switchgear is identical. These binnacles, it's standard MG Rover parts bin stuff, but it works, and it's nice to feel one that's, you know, still in great condition and as it should be. This is a very relaxing ride. I'm doing 50 miles an hour right now, and I'm just cruising in the summer, well, the spring air. It's nice. This is just a genuinely nice thing to be in. The thing is though, you wouldn't want to be pushing this car really harder than this, because although it's perfectly competent to drive at comfortable speeds, it does have a certain amount of scuttle shake in it. Where the coupe gets its shake and rattle and general looseness by having a targa top and pillarless windows, they've gone a different route with this car. They've added the strength of this rollover crash bar, so if you do have an accident, you are going to be relatively safe if the car goes upside down. But obviously by cutting this much roof out of the thing, it has taken a fair degree of structural rigidity away, and you do feel that on a bumpy back road as the car just shimmies around a fair degree. But in a convertible of the 90s, that's fairly standard fare. That's not a criticism of the car. Well, it is a criticism of the car. It's not a criticism of this car, it's a criticism of the model, and let's be honest, most 90s convertibles were much the same. So yeah, with that general rattly scuttle shake business going on, it doesn't really encourage you to push the car hard through corners, but it's only a 1.4 engine, so that doesn't either. Really, this is a car, it's not about speed, this is just about being out, the roof down, enjoying the weather, enjoying the sunshine, a couple of friends in the car, enjoy being out and about on a ideally straight level road. With only 13,000 miles on the clock, honestly this car looks completely unworn. Obviously it's been cleaned up quite nicely because it's with the dealer at the moment for sale. There's no damage, no wear anywhere. The seats on R8s generally do wear very well. It's not so much they get bolster wear, but the stitching comes undone in the seats, seat squabs, and none of that's happened here. And the fabric isn't too baggy either. It's a 26-year-old car. You can't believe it. I've seen worse cars at 3. The metallic British Racing green paint really does suit this car. Funny, you don't really see that many Rover 200s in British Racing green anymore. It was a popular colour when they were new. Oh, I shouldn't have taken this lane, it's narrow. And the car is absolutely spotless. With the roof up, the car kind of follows the shape and profile of the 200 series hatchback quite faithfully actually. But with it down, the shape of the car become its own unique presence. There's no mistaking it for anything else. It looks good from the outside, but one thing you notice fairly instantly when you're driving is that more or less the instant that roof goes down and the tonneau goes on, you cannot see a thing out the mirror. The bottom half of the mirror, which is basically the road area, useless. All I can see is tonneau cover. If you're not pushing it too hard, it's still a nice chassis underneath. At the heart of it, the R8, with its Honda-derived sensibilities and Rover-derived handling characteristics, it made a really good platform. It's only now, 20 years after it's been out of production, that people are starting to realise it was actually a really good car. Forget the Mrs. Bouquet connotations. It's a really good car underneath. Regardless of whether it's a coupe, convertible, 5-door hatch, or a load lugging tourer. There's a great range of cars, and the K series, if looked after, is a great engine. It's good that it's finally becoming recognised as the classic it actually is, and the money is starting to go up. I have to say, driving a car as nice as this one makes me a little envious and makes me want to spend an awful lot of money on my coupe. It's interesting driving a car with its original ride height suspension, as it's totally different from my bone shaking sports setup. It's nicely soft. Now the sun's come out again, the sky is blue, little fluffy clouds. All of the R8 shortcomings, all the rattles and bangs that you're going to get in a Rover 200 are amplified by the roof missing. But at the same time, you don't really care. This is just nice. Nice chunky steering wheel, feels good. You've got that wooden insert in the dashboard. The beige coloured interior completely transforms the feel of the car, actually. It goes from being quite a serious sporty car with the grey interior and the kind of red bits in the seats to far more relaxed. Now, if I was looking for a 90s convertible to buy today for this coming summer, personally, I would probably be looking at this, an Alfa GTV, a BMW E36, and maybe even a Peugeot 306 convertible. My heart instantly would go to the Alfa because it always does, especially with the V6 in it. My head and my driving gloves would definitely head over to the BMW. I don't know how long I'd spend looking at the Peugeot. If it was a 306 XSI 3-door, I'd be buying that in a shot, but that wasn't the convertible. Honestly, I don't know if I would choose this over the Alfa or the BMW otherwise. I'd certainly be thinking hard about it. Who am I kidding? I'd buy the Alfa. But that's just me, I'd always buy the Alfa. It's my default choice for everything. If in doubt, buy an Alfa. Okay, who am I really kidding? I'd buy all three. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little ride out in what is a very rare 90s convertible. I certainly have. I don't know if it's made me want one more or less, to be honest, but if I was going to buy one, this is the one I would go and buy. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you see when I put new stuff out at least once a week at the moment. It's got to be worth it.